June 5, 1944. Southwick House, Portsmouth, England. Rain lashes against the tall windows of the Georgian manor as cigarette smoke hangs thick over a massive wall map of northern France. General Dwight D. Eisenhower stands with his hands clasped behind his back, eyes fixed on the narrow strip of coastline marked Normandy. Around him, British and American officers murmur in low voices. Admiral Bertram Ramsay, Air Chief Marshal Trafford Leigh-Mallory, General Bernard Montgomery. Outside, thousands of ships wait in the dark waters of the English Channel. Inside, the fate of Europe balances on weather reports and deception. Eisenhower turns slightly, studying the colored pins scattered across the map. But some of the most important divisions marked there do not exist. Entire armored formations, Phantom Infantry Corps, even a 1st U.S. Army Group under General George S. Patton. On paper, the most feared Allied commander in German eyes. Across the Channel, in France, German commanders are not watching Normandy most closely tonight. They are staring at Pas de Calais. In the headquarters of Field Marshal Gerd von Rundstedt, reports continue to arrive. Intercepted radio traffic, reconnaissance sightings of tanks in southeast England, increased activity opposite Calais. The pattern seems obvious. The shortest crossing. The logical strike. Hitler himself is convinced. What none of them realize is that much of what they fear is made of rubber, wood, and carefully crafted lies. Spring, 1944. Kent, southeast England. From the air, it looks unmistakable. Columns of tanks sit beneath camouflage nets. Landing craft crowd harbors along the Thames estuary. Supply depots stretch for miles. Fresh American divisions appear to be training relentlessly for an assault across the narrowest point of the Channel. German reconnaissance aircraft photograph everything they can before being chased off by Spitfires. What they capture seems undeniable, an invasion force aimed directly at Pas de Calais. But if you walked among those armored columns, you would hear something strange. A hollow echo when the wind pushes against the steel. Because the tanks are inflatable. Rubber Shermans, carefully painted. Wooden aircraft arranged along dummy airfields. Fake fuel dumps constructed from canvas and plywood. Engineers of the British Air Force and American signal units move methodically, inflating decoy vehicles at night, deflating and relocating them by morning. Then comes the invisible layer. Radio operators transmit endless coded chatter, convoys forming, units requesting supplies, divisions shifting position. Skilled operators mimic the unique fist, the sending style, of real American units. To German signals intelligence, it sounds authentic, alive. At the center of it all stands Lieutenant General George S. Patton. To the Germans, Patton is the Allies' most aggressive field commander. If there is to be a decisive blow, surely it will be led by him. And here he is, publicly visiting southeast England, inspecting troops that do not truly exist. In Berlin, analysts piece it together. Pas de Calais is the target. Normandy seems too obvious. June 6, 1944. 4:30 a.m. La Roche-Guyon, France. Field Marshal Erwin Rommel is not at headquarters. He is in Germany, visiting his wife for her birthday, convinced that bad weather has ruled out any invasion for days. At OB West headquarters, telephones ring in rapid succession. Reports flood in, airborne landings near St. Mée-Église. Naval bombardment off the Normandy coast. Paratroopers cutting telephone lines in the darkness. General Alfred Jodl in Berlin receives confirmation before dawn. The Allies have landed. But where is the main attack? At Führer headquarters in Berchtesgaden, Adolf Hitler is still asleep. His staff hesitates to wake him. The Armored Reserve, the powerful 12th SS Panzer Division and Panzerlehr, cannot move without his direct authorization. Meanwhile, German intelligence officers stare at fresh intercepts. Radio traffic in southeast England has not decreased. In fact, it has intensified. The so-called 1st U.S. Army Group under Patton still appears poised opposite Pas de Calais. Reconnaissance reports continue to describe massed forces there. Double agents, most notably the Spanish agent Juan Cugel, codenamed Gabo, send carefully crafted messages confirming Normandy is merely a diversion. The logic seems airtight. Normandy must be a feint. The real hammer blow is still coming at Calais. Hours pass. Critical hours. And the Panzer divisions wait. June 6, 1944. Midday. Normandy coast. On Omaha Beach, American infantry cling to shingle and sand under relentless machine gun fire. German strongpoints. Weidestaansnester. Pour 7.92mm rounds into the surf. Bodies drift in the tide. Officers shout through static-filled radios for armor support that is nowhere in sight. Because the armored reserve is still waiting. Near Caen, elements of the 21st Panzer Division probe cautiously toward the British lines, but they are alone. The powerful 12th SS Hitlerjugend and Panzer-led divisions remain held back. In Calais, the 15th Army sits on full alert, scanning the horizon for the real invasion fleet. In Berlin, Hitler finally awakens. His staff briefs him. Landings in Normandy, airborne drops inland, heavy naval presence. He waves it off. This is a diversion. He refuses to release the bulk of the armored reserve northward. The Allies, he insists, will strike at Pas de Calais once the Germans commit their strength elsewhere. And so the most formidable German panzer formations in northern France remain frozen by doubt. On the beaches, Allied engineers blast gaps through obstacles. Naval guns hammer coastal batteries. Reinforcements pour ashore hour by hour. What was meant to be crushed at the waterline begins, slowly, to solidify. And still, German commanders hesitate, waiting for an attack that will never come. June 7th to June 20th, 1944. Northern France. The beachhead grows. American forces push inland toward Corentin. British and Canadian troops grind forward around Caen. Supply ships unload tanks, artillery, fuel, and rations in staggering quantities. The artificial Mulberry harbors begin operating off the coast, turning open water into functioning ports. Yet in Pas de Calais, the German 15th Army remains in position. Field Marshal von Rundstedt argues for flexibility. Rommel, now back in France, urges immediate concentration against Normandy before Allied air power makes maneuver impossible. But Berlin hesitates. Intelligence continues to confirm that Patton's massive army group in southeast England has not moved. Inflatable tanks are still visible from the air. Radio traffic remains constant. Agent Garbo sends one final masterstroke message. Normandy, he claims, is merely the preliminary assault. The decisive landing at Calais is imminent. Hitler believes him. Weeks pass. The German High Command keeps powerful divisions locked in place, guarding empty coastline. By the time they begin to shift forces, Allied troops in Normandy number in the hundreds of thousands. The deception has bought something priceless. Time. Time to unload armor. Time to link the beaches. Time to build an unstoppable front. By July, the illusion no longer matters. The Allies are firmly entrenched in France. Operation Fortitude, rubber tanks, wooden planes, phantom armies, has done its work. German generals would later struggle to comprehend it. An entire fake army, convincing enough to paralyze the Reich at the most critical moment of the war. On D-Day, the greatest weapon the Allies possessed was not just ships, tanks, or aircraft. It was belief. And Hitler believed the lie.